Is it possible to be able to do all that within the 120 days? When you read the 120-day document, it doesn't talk about lowering food prices. It doesn't say that.
Well, the president did say it
ultimately. Look, don't let us act as if the economy is such that it can be repaired tomorrow. It's not possible. Where the country stands today, we are in a cliff.
We're in a ditch.
We're in a cliff. Yes.
That's even worse.
You are down inside the cliff. Yes, you've got to be able to climb out of that cliff. And climbing out of the cliff, the rocks are rugged. The rocks can cut you. So many things can happen to you before you get to the top. It is not going to be as easy as it looks. For me, the most important thing is for the different ministries to work together. The agri minister, he's not responsible for prices. He's responsible to make sure that there's food availability and food sustainability. The economy will determine the prices. If petrol prices go up, if inflation goes up, if international prices go up, it affects the prices. And how they manage it is where the challenge is. It's the managing of these things is where the challenge is. When you look at the duties of the Minister of Finance, key, he should be able to distribute the country's wealth and revenue to the different ministries where it makes an impact. Energy, to do with electricity, key. Agriculture, it's got to do with food, key. Roads, it's got to do with transportation, key. Then you ask the question, what kind of revenue is going to come in? Where is that revenue coming from? Especially the kind of revenue that comes in like a tsunami. We haven't even started doing anything there. The last government never did exploration to production in 8 years. So that money that comes in like a wash will not be there. They have to start. The Minister of Energy has to start looking at how we start doing our oil production again. There's quite a huge plethora of things that these ministers need to do. But most importantly, and for me, I keep saying it and always say it, in the kind of work that needs to be done, if in doing this work, personal interest also seeps in, then it's a huge challenge.
I don't understand.
Don't understand what?
Talk about corruption.
What don't you understand?
You mean chop?
People's personal corruption. Interest, minister's personal interest. Yes. The moment it seeps in, then the president who has a vision, because his vision, we want to see the end of his vision at the end of this 4-year term, that the country has been reset. I don't think the country will be reset in 2 years. The country would need to be put in a certain position for the reset to take place. Ghanaians will determine whether the NDC comes back in 2028 based on how, one, the ministers react, how well they are able to communicate with Ghanaians with regards to the job that has been given them. And for me, that is key. That is very, very key. That as you go along, you communicate. And as you go along, you communicate in honesty. Not communicate in propaganda. Again, Ghanaians don't expect the ministers getting into 2 years still to be blaming MPP. They don't expect that. That's what the MPP did. And, when you go on platforms and you talk about President Akufo-Addo, they tell you, sometimes the host will tell you, President Akufo-Addo is no more. Let him rest. Let him rest, is no more. But the MPP talked about John Mahama in 8 years, all through.
And you're saying that's a bad strategy?
It's a bad strategy. We don't need that. Today, the kind of votes that have been given to NDC, we want to see action. Then you ask the question, the people who were vetted and looking at them, do you think they have the ability to reset the economy? The way they answered the questions, the type of questions that were answered, would they be able to reset the economy?